When you think MotoGP, what's the first thing that jumps into your head? Is it the noise? That incredible engine roar?
Yeah, or maybe the speed, just the blur of bikes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe just how utterly audacious it is, you know? Someone
Wow.
riding a bike over 200 miles an hour.
It's pretty wild.
So today in this deep dive, our mission is kind of, well, to unpack the whole ecosystem.
Sure.
What makes MotoGP actually tick? Because it isn't just about the speed or the amazing bikes.
No, not at all.
It's where, like, raw human skill meets super cutting-edge technology, and there's huge money involved, complex rules.
It's a whole world.
Yeah, whole world. We're going to explore everything from the massive economic footprint it has globally to these really radical changes in rider safety.
Which are fascinating.
Totally. And also the strategy, the game that's played on the track, but also off it.
Right. And for this deep dive, we've looked at quite a few sources. There's a really detailed economic assessment we drew from, and some great reports on the safety innovations, the tech side, and of course the official rulebook itself, the FIMM Grand Prix regulations. That's the Fédération Internationale de Motocyclisme, for anyone wondering.
Right, the governing body.
Exactly. It gives you a pretty surprising look at how this incredibly high-stakes sport actually works day to day. It's always pushing boundaries.
So stick with us. Let's try and unravel what it really means when they talk about joining the beast with the man in MotoGP.
Okay, let's unpack this then. A MotoGP event
Yep.
is way bigger than just the race on Sunday, isn't it? The impact on the place hosting it, the whole region, it's huge.
Oh, absolutely. A massive ripple effect.
Can you give us a specific example of that? How big are we talking?
Yeah, sure. That economic assessment we mentioned, it looked closely at the 2023 Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, just that one event. Get this. It pulled in around 20,350 unique visitors who stayed specifically for the race, or longer, in Victoria, Australia.
20,000 people.
Yeah.
Just for the race. Yeah, unique visitors staying over. And what's really interesting is how that connects to the global thing. You know, these iconic tracks, Phillip Island in Australia, Circuit of the Americas over in the U.S., they're not just racetracks.
They become destinations.
Exactly. People travel for them. And think about the jobs, logistics, hotels, restaurants, event staff.
Yeah.
Huge temporary employment boost. It pumps money right into the local area, way beyond just what those visitors spend on tickets. It's like a multiplier.
That's a serious economic injection. But it's not just the fans turning up, is it? There's this whole circus almost that travels with the sport. What does that look like behind the scenes, moving all that kit and people around the world?
Oh, it's an incredible operation. Financially, logistically.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah.
You got 22 riders, right? Across 11 teams. 5 different manufacturers building the bikes.
Okay.
And each team, just for those 2 riders, has this massive crew. Multiple mechanics, engineers, data guys, crew chiefs, PR people, even PAs or managers for the riders.
Yeah.
And the challenge isn't just the number of people. It's moving all the highly sensitive gear, the bikes, the spares, everything globally, often with really tight turnarounds between races.
Yeah, but...
And the sponsors play a huge role. Someone like Red Bull, for instance, they provide massive support. They even set up these, giant mansions, basically these huge hospitality centers for the teams in Europe.
Really? Mansions?
Yeah, pretty much. And resources. Teams carry enough spares to build 2, maybe even 3 complete backup bikes. Sometimes they even talk about having a backup of the backup.
A backup of the backup. That's kind of nuts.
It just shows the level of investment, the dedication. They have to be ready for anything to get those bikes on the grid.
Okay, that level of preparation is insane. But given the speeds, the danger, it leads to the obvious question. This sport used to be incredibly dangerous. Back in the 90s, you hear stories like half the riders would end up in hospital during a season.
Yeah, it had a bad reputation for a while.
But today, it seems remarkably safer, even though they're probably pushing things even harder. How did that happen? This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
It really is. And the shift is mainly down to 2 big things we found in the sources. Those in-suit airbags and really advanced AI simulations.
Airbags in the suits.
Yep. Take that crash in 2019 at the British Grand Prix. Big one. Involved Andrea Dovizioso on the Ducati and Fabio Quartararo on the Yamaha.
I remember that one. Looked nasty.
It did. But the data showed Vizioso's airbag went off 150 milliseconds before the main impact. Quartararo's 60 milliseconds before.
Before impact? How?
Sensors and algorithms predict the crash dynamics. It's incredibly fast. And that instantaneous protection, it was a huge factor in them avoiding major injuries. Dovi was checked out of hospital the same day.
That is mind-boggling speed and prediction. And it's not just the airbags, right? You mentioned AI simulations.
Exactly, that's the other big piece. Teams, like Ducati, use powerful computing systems. The sources mentioned Lenovo ThinkStations to run super detailed simulations of the track.
What kind of simulations?
They can model how the bike will behave under specific conditions. Say, the Qatar circuit, low sail. It gets sandy, dusty, humidity, heat. All that affects tires, fuel consumption.
Right.
So the AI helps them predict all that. They can work out strategies for power delivery, for braking points, before the bike even turns a wheel on the actual track.
So they're racing it virtually first.
In a way, yeah. It's about optimizing everything based on data predictions. It combines with the physical gear to let the riders push right to the edge, but with a much bigger safety net.
Okay, let's talk about that physical gear too. The suits riders wear, they look cool, but there's a lot more going on there.
Oh yeah, much more. They wear these custom-fitted one-piece leather suits, often kangaroo leather. It's incredibly strong and abrasion resistant. Made from like 13 different pieces, all hand-sewn.
Hand-sewn, wow.
Yeah. And crucially, they have those airbag systems integrated right into the suit. And you've got specialized gloves, boots, all designed for protection, and the helmets.
Helmets must be pretty high-tech too.
Absolutely. Custom-fitted full face, made from carbon fiber and other lightweight composites. They have anti-fog visors, incredible aerodynamics. They're engineering marvels in themselves.
And all this tech together, it's actually reduced injuries significantly.
The stats are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Our sources quote an overall injury rate of about 4.14 per thousand practice kilometers and 3.8 per thousand race kilometers. Serious injuries in the championship are actually quite rare now.
That's a huge turnaround from the 90s.
Massive. It's like Gabriele Conti, Ducati's electronic systems director, said the tech helps them more effectively join the beast with the man.
It's amazing. All this tech isn't just about, preventing the worst outcomes. It actually allows the riders to go faster, push harder, knowing they have that protection. Does it change how they ride?
I think the feeling is definitely that it builds confidence. Knowing a high-speed crash isn't necessarily catastrophic, frees them up mentally perhaps, allows them to explore the absolute limits of the bike, their skill. It becomes this kind of feedback loop, right? Better safety means they can push performance higher, which then probably drives the need for even better safety tech down the line. It's constantly evolving.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's shift gears a bit. Talk about the rules. This whole thing is governed by this massive rule book, the FIAM Grand Prix regulations. What kind of oversight are we talking about?
Oh, it's incredibly detailed. These regulations spell out everything. You've got key officials,
Right.
the race director, deputy race director, technical director,
Right.
and they have broad authority to make sure everyone complies, both on the sporting side and the technical side. And it covers the event promoters, too. Really strict requirements.
Like what?
Like the paddock area has to be ready and available from the Wednesday before a Sunday race. You need 24-hour security, continuous medical cover, fire services, always on standby. The whole logistical dance just to meet the basic rules for each event is pretty intense.
And I imagine the medical rules are incredibly strict given the risks involved.
Intense is the word. Riders have to pass mandatory medical fitness tests. Things like no epilepsy or unexplained blackouts for 5 years, strict limits on alcohol,
Makes sense.
and crucially, no prohibited substances under WADO rules unless they have a TE that's a therapeutic use exemption. Basically, a doctor's note saying they need it for a legitimate medical reason.
Okay.
And at the track itself, there's a whole medical setup. Chief medical officer, medical director, an FIM medical officer, multiple types of ambulances, type A for advanced life support, type B for specialized transport, type C for basic, even helicopters on standby.
Helicopters. Wow.
Yeah, ideally there needs to be a designated hospital reachable within 20 minutes by air or 45 by road. And this is important. All the rider medical details are kept strictly confidential.
That's a serious operation. So, okay, race weekend comes. How do riders actually get their spot on the starting grid? And what happens on race day with procedures and things?
Right, so grid positions, that's decided by lap times. They combine the fastest laps for the free practice sessions, FP1, FP2,
Or
FP1.
three practice, right.
Exactly. And then there are specific qualifying sessions, QP1 and QP2, qualifying practice. Your fastest lap across those determines where you start.
Okay. And the race start itself.
Pretty standard procedure.
Yeah.
Red lights come on for between 2 and 5 seconds, then lights out, and they go. There's also a safety card that leads them for the first lap.
Got it. And if someone breaks the rules during the race, penalties.
Yeah, there are defined penalties. Common ones are the ride through, You have to literally ride through the pit lane, respecting the speed limit, but without stopping.
Ah, okay. Loses time.
Definitely. And the other main one is the long lap penalty. There's a specially marked, longer route painted just off the main track layout at a specific corner. If you get that penalty, you have to take that longer loop. Costs you a few seconds.
Right. That brings up an important point, though. What about the bikes themselves, the technical rules? How do they keep things fair and safe there? How does that feed into the beast and man idea?
Yeah, the technical regs are just as strict. For instance, MotoGP engines have to be four-stroke, reciprocating piston engines. Normally aspirated, no turbos or superchargers. And there's a maximum fuel tank size, 22 liters.
Why limit the fuel?
It forces efficiency and strategy. Can't just have a massive tank and run flat out. And certain materials are banned too. Like you can't use titanium for the mainframe or the swinging arm.
Really? Why not titanium? Too expensive. Or too strong?
Probably a bit of both. It prevents costs spiraling with exotic materials, keeps the playing field a bit more level, and maybe avoids unforeseen issues with ultra-rigid components. Bolts and fasteners are okay, but not the main structures.
Interesting. What else?
Brake discs have rules too. Can only contain a maximum of 2% ceramic composite material. And brake level protection is mandatory now.
Brake lever protection.
Yeah, a guard around the front brake lever. That came in after some incidents where riders accidentally bumped another bike, hitting the brake lever and causing a crash.
Ouch. Okay.
Even fuel and oil are regulated. They have to use specific products from appointed suppliers that meet FIM specs. Yeah. And there are rules about fuel temperature. Teams can't gain an advantage by super chilling the fuel to get more density.
Wow, it really gets down to the nitty-gritty, doesn't it? Even fuel temperature. It's fascinating how even things like banned metals or fuel specs are all part of managing that human-machine balance.
Absolutely.
And they even have other tech, like optional virtual pit boards messages popping up on the rider's dashboard. And teams have to carry onboard cameras. It's this incredible mix of rider, machine, data, and strict rules. So with all this tech, safety, and regulation, what does it all mean for the actual championship, the points race? How does strategy play out over a season, especially now with the sprint races?
Yeah, the sprint races, they've definitely shaken things up. The scoring system is key to all the strategy. For the main Grand Prix race on Sunday, it's pretty standard. 25 points for the win, and 20, 16, 13, 11, and so on, down to 1 point for 15th place.
Okay, familiar territory. But the sprint race points are different.
Yep. Shorter race on Saturday, different points. It's 12 points for first, then 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 point for ninth place. So fewer points available and only the top 9 score.
Okay. So that must have a pretty big strategic impact, right? Does it make riders, I don't know, push harder on Saturday? Or save themselves for Sunday?
It adds a whole new dimension. The big thing is, a rider can now potentially score a maximum of 37 points across the whole weekend. Win the sprint, win the main race, boom, 37 points.
That's a big haul for one weekend.
Huge. And it also means if you have a bad race, say you crash out of the sprint, you still have the main race on Sunday to score big points, or vice versa. It offers a chance to recover from a mistake within the same weekend. It means every single session counts more than ever.
Interesting. And this scoring system itself, it hasn't always been this way, has it? It's changed over the years.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's evolved quite a bit throughout MotoGP history. If you go way back to 1950, the very beginning, only the top 6 finishers got points. And it was just 8 points for the win, then 6, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow, only 6 riders scoring.
Yep. Then things changed. By 1977, they started counting all results towards the championship. In 1988, they expanded points down to the top 15 finishers, but it started with 20 points for first back then.
Okay.
And made the most telling change, reflecting how dangerous it used to be.
Yeah.
In 1991, in the 500cc class, they actually allowed riders to drop their worst 2 results from the championship total.
Drop results.
Why? Because injuries were so common back then. Riders often missed races. Allowing them to discard a couple of 0 scores was seen as fairer, given the high risk. It really shows how things have changed regarding safety.
Yeah, that really underscores the safety point we were talking about earlier. So this constantly changing system just adds more layers of strategy every weekend. How you approach practice, qualifying, the sprint, the main race. It's complex.
Exactly. Every decision matters.
And well, there you have it. That's our deep dive into the just incredible world that is MotoGP. It's this amazing mix, isn't it? Cutting edge engineering, unbelievable human courage.
Yeah, bravery is definitely part of it.
It's all wrapped up in this massive framework of rules designed for fierce competition, but also increasingly for safety. And behind it all, a global economic engine and a logistical machine that's just staggering.
It really is something else.
A true test of humans and technology working together.
Yeah. And maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Consider how this constant push in safety tech and MotoGP, driven by data, by simulation, it doesn't just protect the riders, it also sort of implicitly keeps pushing the performance limits higher. Faster speeds become possible because the safety net is better.
Interesting point.
So could this whole cycle, better safety leading to potentially higher performance, could it actually start to change how we even define the human limit in sport? Just something to ponder.